World War I is tearing Europe apart. You're part of a powerful military alliance, a pact sealed with promises of mutual defense. Your allies, Germany and Austria-Hungary, are locked in a brutal fight. They turn to you, expecting your support, your soldiers, your guns. But you say, no. And then, you do the unthinkable. You join their enemies. This isn't a Hollywood script. This is the real story of Italy in the Great War. It's a tale of betrayal, ambition, and a choice that would forever alter the map of Europe and the course of history. So, why did Italy, a member of the Triple Alliance, turn its back on its partners and fight alongside Britain, France, and Russia? The answer isn't as simple as you might think. It's a complex web of old rivalries, secret deals, and a burning desire for national greatness. I'm your name, and you're watching NeoHistoricaAI. Today, we're diving deep into the trenches of history to uncover the real reasons behind Italy's shocking betrayal in World War I. Stick around, because this story is a game-changer. To really understand Italy's decision, we have to go back a few decades. Picture Italy in the late 19th century. It's a brand new country, officially unified in 1871. Like a young upstart trying to find its place at the table with the big players, Britain, France, Germany, Italy was ambitious. It wanted respect, colonies, and a say in European affairs. In 1882, to bolster its position and protect itself, especially from its neighbor France, Italy signed on the dotted line and joined the Triple Alliance with Germany and Austria-Hungary. On paper, they were allies, sworn to defend one another. But beneath the surface, the ink on that treaty was already starting to fade, especially when it came to Austria-Hungary. You see, there was bad blood between Italy and Austria. For years, Austria had controlled territories that many Italians felt were rightfully theirs. Places like Trentino and the port city of Trieste were packed with Italian-speaking populations, and Italian nationalists called these lands Italia Irredenta, unredeemed Italy. The dream of bringing these regions into the new Italian kingdom never died. So, while Italy was officially allied with Austria, many Italians saw them as an old enemy, an occupying power. It was an alliance of convenience, not of friendship. As the 20th century dawned, Italy was on the move. Factories were humming in the north, cities were expanding, and the nation was flexing its muscles. But this growing confidence was paired with a deep-seated insecurity, a national chip on its shoulder. Italy had been humiliated on the world stage. In 1896, it attempted to colonize Ethiopia, one of the few independent nations left in Africa. The Italian army expected a quick victory. Instead, they were decisively crushed at the Battle of Adwa. It was a stunning defeat, a national embarrassment that echoed for years. Italy was desperate to erase this stain on its reputation. So it turned its gaze across the Mediterranean to North Africa, specifically to Libya, which was then a province of the weakening Ottoman Empire. In 1911, Italy declared war and invaded. Again, they expected it to be a walk in the park. But the Libyans, supported by the Ottomans, put up fierce resistance. The easy win turned into a grueling, year-long conflict. The war was a brutal affair, costing thousands of Italian lives and draining the national treasury. By the end of it, Italy did get what it wanted. Libya became an Italian colony, but the price was steep. The war revealed the weaknesses of the Italian military and nearly bankrupted the country. Yet it also whetted the nation's appetite for more. Having a colony, even one acquired at such a high cost, fueled the dream of a new Roman Empire and solidified Italy's belief that territorial expansion was the key to becoming a true great power. This hunger for land and glory would be a crucial factor in the decisions that lay ahead. Then, June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary is assassinated in Sarajevo. A month later, the world is at war. The dominoes fell one by one, and Europe plunged into the abyss of the Great War. The Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary, were pitted against the Allied powers, France, Britain, and Russia. Germany and Austria turned to their third partner in the Triple Alliance, Italy. They expected Italian soldiers to march alongside them. After all, that's what alliances are for, right? But Rome went silent. The Italian government, led by Prime Minister Antonio Salandra, declared neutrality. Their official excuse was clever. The Triple Alliance Treaty, they argued, was purely defensive. It only required them to help if Germany or Austria-Hungary were attacked. But in this case, Austria-Hungary had been the aggressor, declaring war on Serbia first. Technically, Italy was off the hook. This public declaration of neutrality was just one side of the story. Behind closed doors, Italian diplomats were playing a brilliant, if cynical, game. They opened up a bidding war. They went to their own allies, Germany and Austria-Hungary, and asked, "What will you give us to stay neutral, or perhaps even to join you?" Then they went to the other side, the Allies, and asked the very same question. "What will you offer us if we join your side and fight against our former partners?" For months, secret negotiations took place. The Allies, desperate to open a new front and divert Central Powers' troops away from the Western and Eastern fronts, were willing to offer a much better deal. They promised Italy everything it had ever dreamed of. This brings us to the secret Treaty of London, signed on April 26, 1915. It was the ultimate carrot on a stick. Britain, France, and Russia made Italy an offer it couldn't refuse. If Italy would enter the war on their side within 1 month, it would be rewarded handsomely after victory. The prize list was staggering. Trentino, South Tyrol, all the way to the Brenner Pass, Trieste, the Istrian Peninsula, and a large chunk of the Dalmatian coast. These were the very lands of Italia Irredenta, the territories Italy had coveted for decades. The Allies were essentially offering to help Italy complete its unification and realize its imperial ambitions. For the Italian government, the choice was clear. The Triple Alliance offered little, but the Allies offered a new, greater Italy. The deal was struck. 3 weeks after signing the secret treaty on May 23, 1915, Italy officially declared war on its old ally, Austria-Hungary. The betrayal was complete. Italy had switched sides. The Italian people were whipped into a frenzy of pro-war nationalism. The promise of new lands and national glory was intoxicating, but the reality of the war would be a brutal awakening. The Italian front, running through the treacherous, snow-covered Alps, became one of the most horrific theaters of the entire war. Italian soldiers, many of them poor peasants with little training or equipment, were ordered to make suicidal charges up steep mountain slopes against well-entrenched Austrian positions. The fighting was relentless, a nightmare of artillery bombardments, avalanches, and frostbite in freezing high-altitude trenches. Battles like the 11 battles of the Isonzo resulted in catastrophic casualties for minuscule territorial gains. The war on the Italian front was a meat grinder. By the time the guns fell silent in 1918, the cost was almost unimaginable. Over 650,000 Italian soldiers were dead. More than 1 million were wounded. The country was economically shattered and socially divided. So, did Italy's gamble pay off? Well, yes and no. When the victors met at the Paris Peace Conference in 1919, Italy did receive most of what it was promised in the Treaty of London. It gained Trentino, South Tyrol, Trieste, and Istria. The nation's northern border was finally secure. But Italy didn't get everything. The Dalmatian coast, for example, was largely given to the newly created nation of Yugoslavia, much to Italy's outrage. To many Italians, it felt like a mutilated victory. They had bled for the Allied cause, suffered immense losses, and yet they felt cheated at the peace table. This sense of bitterness and betrayal poisoned the post-war atmosphere in Italy. The returning soldiers, many of them unemployed and angry, felt their sacrifice had been in vain. The economy was in shambles, and the government seemed weak and ineffective. This fertile ground of national discontent and wounded pride was exactly what a charismatic and ruthless political agitator needed to rise to power. His name was Benito Mussolini. He and his fascist party exploited the national anger, promising to restore Italy's honor and strength. The mutilated victory became a powerful rallying cry, paving the way for the end of democracy in Italy and, ultimately, for an even more devastating global conflict. So, Italy's story in World War I is a powerful lesson in realpolitik. It shows how national ambition, historical grievances, and the promise of territory can shatter alliances and reshape the world. Italy entered the war to become a great power, and while it won on the battlefield and expanded its borders, the victory came at a terrible price, a price that would haunt the nation for decades to come. What do you think? Did Italy make the right call by switching sides, or was the cost of victory too high? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this piece of history as fascinating as I do, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to NeoHistoricaAI. Don't forget to ring that notification bell so you won't miss our next journey into the past. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.